Good afternoon, and thank you, Spinek, and thank you, Tinne, for your very good remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be this afternoon with you because today's launch is an important moment because it is a day of delivery. And I would especially like to thank ENTSO-E. Your excellent work and cooperation have led us here. Our first ever offshore network development plan. When it comes to planning our energy system, these plans are groundbreaking for a few different reasons. They allow us to think strategically about our offshore grid needs. They highlight the vast potential of offshore renewables in all European sea basins. And they show the benefits of coordination and cross-border projects and how, by working together, we can deploy a resilient, secure, and fair energy system for people across Europe. These plans provide a wealth of information and data. And this is important because it will support all the different players in turning offshore ambitions into reality. The member states who need to balance marine environmental protection and biodiversity with industrial users, the supply industry to help them make the equipment on time, as well as the offshore wind industry and developers. Reading through the plans, 3 key points come to mind. First, the plans make clear the huge potential. Offshore wind is set to become the 3rd most important energy source in the European power system, and the energy provided will be enough to supply 55 million households. This mirrors the ambitious direction set out by the EU and member states on offshore. Nearly 1 year ago, member states agreed on 2050 sea basin goals for offshore renewable generation with intermediate steps in 2030 and 2040. The aim is 120 gigawatts of installed generation offshore capacity by the end of this decade and up to 317 gigawatts by the middle of this century. And since then, member states' offshore targets have become even more ambitious, also thanks to regional cooperation in different sea basins. And this brings me to my second point. When it comes to the deployment of offshore renewable energy, infrastructure and the use of maritime space, the regional perspective is absolutely critical. Member states benefit widely from cooperating with their neighbors around Europe's sea basins, either through the 10E regional groups or the regional high-level groups. And we are seeing this play out in the North Sea, which is poised to become Europe's green power plant. 14 out of the 16 gigawatt of offshore wind installed in the EU comes so far from the North Seas. And new projects have recently been announced to deliver on the very ambitious targets set this year by members of the North Sea Energy Cooperation. And likewise, where I come from, the Baltic Sea. New projects are coming off the ground under the first list of projects of common interest and projects of mutual interest, the Bornholm Energy Island and the Elbe Wind project. In the Atlantic and Mediterranean offshore grids corridors, regional cooperation on offshore is more recent, but just as important and ambitious. There are new offshore auctions being planned, new national initiatives on offshore, and the first offshore projects of common interest, including in the new BCI and PMI list. It's worth noting how important it is to be it will be to sustain technological progress in these sea basins with more deep water sites where floating solutions will have to be deployed to fully exploit potential. Third, the plans highlight that we get to where we need to be. Offshore renewable expansion has to be 9 times faster than it was during the last 10 years. The Commission has understood this and is working on all fronts to make it happen. One important focus is grids. and I have made it my priority to put this issue on the political map over the past few months, because we will not exploit all the potential if we do not deploy offshore grids and reinforce onshore ones. The Commission, in close cooperation with Member States and stakeholders, will issue guidance for a specific cost benefit and cost sharing for offshore network development plans in the EU sea basins. And this will support Member States and promoters in their discussions on new potential cross-border projects. And this comes on the back of the new EU Grids Action Plan, published last November. The plan identifies 14 concrete and tailor-made actions to help unlock the needed investment and get European electricity grids up to speed. More broadly, to tackle some of the challenges faced by the offshore wind industry, we have taken a comprehensive set of measures. These include faster and simpler permitting measures, the electricity market design, which guarantees transmission access for offshore wind farms connected to hybrid interconnectors, and the Net Zero Industry Act, which will help scale up manufacturing of clean technologies, including for offshore wind and grid components. The most pivotal action of all, however, is the new European wind power package adopted in October. With this package, the Commission acted with speed and decisiveness to defend a strategic sector facing disruptions in supply chain, increase in input costs, and other such challenges. It sent a clear signal of how committed this Commission is to ensure the wind sector, including offshore, that it grows here in Europe and helps us deliver the energy transition. And just a few months in, we have already started delivering on this package. Before Christmas, 26 member states and more than 300 companies from the wind sector signed up to the European Wind Charter, showing the common and coordinated effort to build the best possible future for the European wind industry. Ladies and gentlemen, no doubt many challenges remain, and a lot of work still needs to be done to deliver on our offshore ambitions, but we have a clear vision of where we are going. We know the steps we need to take, and today's offshore network development plans will serve us well as we navigate these uncharted waters. And together, let's keep up our good collaboration as we take Europe's offshore wind ambition to greater heights. Thank you for your attention.